you have to submit the time you people generated no action story. So you have to submit your assignment.
One more minute. I will wait.
So any doubt in this part you can ask. If you are not having any doubt, so I wind up my topic and good luck to you all. Hello, if you have an answer. Hello, if you have an answer.
Only 29 participants. I will wait for another minute.
No, they are not. They are mobile. All of them say are not. I'm not getting any response from your side. Okay, so if you are there, then you have to tell. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay. So, good luck to you all. If you are not having any doubt, good luck to you all. All the best.
Okay, I think I must start the class right now. We were actually discussing the module 5, in which we have learnt about semiconductors, right? Basics of semiconductors. Let me start with. Okay, we have actually learnt about the definition of semiconductor, the types of semiconductor, right? There are two types. One is intrinsic, another one is extrinsic, isn't it? And then we have actually discussed about Fermi level, right? Fermi level is the highest field level at absolute zero. And I have shown that for intrinsic semiconductors, this Fermi level EF lies at exactly halfway in the energy band, right? All these things are already known. Here VB is the valence band where all the valence electrons will lie, and CB is the conduction band where all the conducting electrons lie, right? Similarly, I have also said whenever there is an electron which is excited to the conduction band, a positive hole is created in the valence band, right? All these things are covered. And also I have mentioned expression for electron concentration, that is number of electrons per unit unit volume of a material in the conduction band. And also I have discussed about the concentration of holes, that is number of holes per unit volume in the valence band, right? All these things are known. And I have also derived the expression for Fermi energy level in terms of energy gap, isn't it? And in the last class, I think I have explained the electrical conductivity of semiconductors. Okay, I have considered a cylindrical semiconducting material, and I have obtained expression for sigma. I hope you all remember this thing. Sigma is the electrical conductivity, right? This is the expression that we have done in the previous class. If you have not understood anything, please ask me. I will again repeat it. Today I will start new topic, that is Hall effect. Okay. Before understanding Hall effect, you should first understand what is the meaning of potential. Okay. What is the meaning of potential? Have you ever observed? Potential means, I mean, what is the meaning of electrical potential? If I have, can you see this animation? If there is a positive plate and negative plate, then we say there is a potential developed across it, right? You can see here, I have a positive plate and a negative plate, and there is a potential developed in between this, where V is the potential between the two plates and D is the separation between the two plates, right? This electric field E is related with the potential by the formula E is equal to V by D, right? Two opposite charges separated by a distance will give potential difference, right? All these things I think you know. And now using that knowledge, we are trying to understand a new concept known as Hall effect. This is a very important question. This will be asked for 8 marks in the examination, at least for 8 marks. Okay. And let me tell you, I don't know what is the pattern or weightage for the marks in these semesters, because this is the new syllabus for you guys. And I just hope that they might at least give it for 6 marks. 6 to 8 marks derivation is this. Okay. The direct question is what is Hall effect, and obtain expression for Hall coefficient or Hall field. And you will understand what is the meaning of Hall coefficient or Hall field in this class. Okay. I don't go to the explanation. I just explain this. Written explanation is not needed. Just observe this diagram. What I have here is a rectangular piece of semiconducting material. Okay. This is my semiconducting material. Okay. Whenever I connect a battery across it, you see a battery is connected across it, then electrons will start to move towards the positive of the battery. I have made a mistake. Electron is not moving in this direction. It is moving in this direction. Okay. It is moving from positive to negative. Okay. Electron is moving in this direction, right? This is what I call it as a circuit. Just observe this rectangular material. This is a semiconducting material to which I have connected a battery. I got a message. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of connecting battery? The negative, electrons will start to move from negative terminal of the battery and they will move like this. Can you make this picture? Are you understanding this one? Electron will travel in a straight path. Okay, this is how the electron travels inside a semiconducting material. Okay, now what I am doing is, it will take a straight path, right? It will take a direct path into the semiconducting material. It will travel in a straight line. Now I am applying a magnetic field. Let me tell you, this motion of electron is along x direction. Okay, this is the, I will call L as the length of this semiconducting material, and electron is traveling along the length of the semiconducting material along the x direction. Okay, x is the direction of current also. You can see if electron is moving from right to left, current is moving from left to right. Okay, current direction is given by x direction. Now to this semiconducting material, I am applying a magnetic field along the z direction. That is from the screen coming towards you. I am applying a magnetic field perpendicular to the current direction. Okay. Current is flowing in the x direction. I am applying the magnetic field along the z direction. Okay. B represents the magnetic field. You can see here. This is the magnetic field direction. Now, as soon as I apply the magnetic field, this electron, which is previously moving in a straight direction, now starts to take a downward path. Okay, this magnetic field will apply a downward force on this electron, and electron will start to move in this direction. Okay, let me show again, once again. Before application of any magnetic field, the electron will travel in a straight line direction. This is the direction of electron. Okay, now as soon as I apply the magnetic field perpendicular to the current, then this electron, which is coming from the negative of the battery, as soon as it enters the semiconducting material, it will push down towards the bottom surface. The electron will now move in this direction. You can see I have marked negative electrons. Okay, electrons will go to the bottom surface of the semiconducting material and then come to the top and comes out of the semiconducting material. Okay, it as soon as it enters, it goes down, it travels along the bottom surface and then comes up and goes out of the semiconducting material. This is the new path. Okay, therefore for a moment there will be accumulation of negative charges in the bottom surface. Okay, due to the applying magnetic field, the electron will now push to the bottom surface. From bottom surface it will go out. Okay, and now you can guess what will happen to the hole. Since I have taken a intrinsic semiconductor, if electrons will travel along the bottom surface, what will be the direction of holes? Holes will start from the positive of the battery and they will move towards the top surface. Okay, therefore I have a top surface with filled with positive charge and I have a bottom surface filled with the negative charge. Okay. Thus, you know that, I mean, it is a situation where I have a charge separation. This charge separation will be along y direction, right? You can see the current direction is along the x direction. Magnetic field is along the y direction. Sorry, magnetic field is along the z direction. Now, charges accumulated are along the y direction. Okay. Bottom surface contains negative charge. Top surface contains positive charge. Therefore, due to this charge separation, there will be a potential developed along y direction. That potential can be measured using this voltmeter. You can see I have connected a voltmeter over here. Okay, this voltmeter shows a voltage value because of charge separation. Don't assume that these positive charges are going to be stay here. They will actually go out of the semiconducting material. They will flow along the top surface. But for a moment, they will be accumulated in the top surface because positive charges are continuously flowing in as well as negative charges. Therefore, for a moment, there will be a accumulation of positive charges in the top surface and accumulation of negative charges in the bottom surface. This charge separation gives rise to a field known as Hall field. Okay, and corresponding voltage is known as Hall voltage. Okay, thus, if they ask you to write a note on Hall effect, or if they ask you write what is Hall effect, then you have to write like this. When a current carrying material is subjected to a magnetic field acting at right angles to the direction of the current flow, okay, then an electric field is induced across the material in a direction perpendicular to both direction of magnetic field and direction of current flow. This phenomena is known as Hall effect. Okay, if you are afraid of this big definition, try to make the definition on your own. Okay, what is happening? If you have applied a magnetic field perpendicular to the current direction, just try to understand. Current is flowing along x direction. You have applied magnetic field along z direction. Then there will be a formation of electric field perpendicular to both current as well as magnetic field. Okay, that is along y direction. This effect is known as Hall effect. Okay, let me repeat once again. Hall effect is nothing but creation of a field or electric field due to the application of magnetic field perpendicular to a current carrying semiconducting material. Okay, that's it. That is your definition. Okay, if you are able, just practice this 4 lines. This is a crystal clear explanation about Hall effect. Okay, sometimes they also ask you about Hall field. Now, Hall field is the electric field induced. Induced means generated. Okay, across the material in the direction perpendicular to both current as well as applied magnetic field. Okay, Hall field is the field induced perpendicular to both current as well as magnetic field. This is the one line answer for the Hall field. If they ask you to write a note on, I mean, if you ask you to define what is Hall potential, in the place of field, you just put potential. Okay, Hall potential is the potential induced across the material perpendicular to both applied field as well as current. Okay, these are the things which will give at least 2 or 3 marks. After that, you have to write a, I mean, you have to derive expression for Hall field. Okay, I hope you have understood by now what is Hall field. Now you have to express Hall field in terms of known parameters. What are the known parameters? Known parameters are the length of the semiconducting material, breadth of the semiconducting material, and thickness of the semiconducting material. I will define thickness of the semiconducting material as D, length of semiconducting material as L, and you also know what is the current applied. You know the battery, right? You can calculate the current. You know the current I, and also you know the current magnetic field B. Using all these quantities, you have to express electric field EH. Okay, Hall field EH. That will earn you other 6 marks. Okay, is it clear? You are actually solving this problem for 8 marks. Okay, now let me show some animations that will actually help you in understanding the Hall effect in a better manner. I will show a animation. You can see already battery is actually connected along the length of the material. This is the cross-sectional view. This is the cross-sectional view of the semiconducting material. Okay, you can see battery is connected along the length of the material, and already I have applied a magnetic field perpendicular to the current direction. Okay, this is my magnetic field H perpendicular to the current direction, and you can see electron, instead of going in a straight direction, it is bending towards the bottom surface. Okay, electron is bending towards the bottom surface. I don't want to bore you guys by explaining why this is happening. This is according to your right hand rule, Fleming's right hand rule. Okay, I don't want to go into that, but try to understand. Charged particles will be deflected by the magnetic field. That principle is actually used here. This magnetic field H is actually pushing the electron towards the bottom surface. Can you make this out? Are you able to see this animation? Please raise your hand if you are able to see. Otherwise, I am wasting my time. Okay, raise the hand. I have 3 participants raised the hand. Okay, I got it. Can you make out this? I mean, if you have not applied this magnetic field, these electron would have traveled along the straight line. Okay, this is a simple conductor. Okay, conducting wire. But due to the presence of this magnetic field, this electron is bending like a football now, isn't it? The striker will hit the ball in such a way that it will curve across the goal post, right? That kind of thing is happening over here. Electron is accumulating in the bottom surface. Also, you can interestingly see electrons are not static. They are actually moving one by one. Current is still flowing in the material, but there is a momentary accumulation of negative charges over here. Okay, I hope this PDF, I mean this GIF has made it clear what is the meaning of Hall effect. Let me show one more GIF here. This is already running. Can you see this GIF, this new GIF? Please raise your hand if you are able. Okay, I got it. Okay, you can see. Just observe here. This is my semiconducting material slab. Okay, and this is my magnetic field perpendicular to the slab. And you can see before application of, let me stop sometimes. Okay, I will show. Okay, let me wait. Okay, look at here. Before the application of magnetic field, electrons are moving in the straight line path. As soon as I apply the magnetic field, electrons will carve around. You can see electrons are accumulated in electrons are represented by these red dots. They will be accumulated on the bottom surface, and holes will be accumulated on the top surface. You can see here, holes will be accumulated in the top surface. Therefore, there is a potential across the thickness, not across the length. Can you make this point? I mean, the field is actually now between this point and this point. It is across the thickness. Okay, you can see the negative, and this multimeter is used to represent the Hall field. Okay. Now let me go into the details of the mathematical calculations, which will earn you 6 marks. Okay. After some time, what happens is, let me go to the situation where electrons are moving along the bottom surface, holes are moving along the top surface. Already we have a Hall field well established. Okay, we have a well established Hall field. Now you have to imagine a situation. If I ask you the question, you are going back to the home using your college bus. If the college bus is free, you will call your friend and give him the seat, right? You will ask the friend to get into the bus. You will call him, and the friend will enter into the bus. Now, what happens if the bus is already overcrowded and there is no space for students to get into the bus? Then will you call your friend? Will you allow your friend to get into the bus? You will actually expand and you will avoid any incoming friend, right? Incoming student, isn't it? Once your bus is completely filled, you will start to avoid any incoming friend. Same thing will happen for the electrons. As soon as bottom surface is overly crowded with the electrons, they will form a cloud of negative charges, and these negative charges will avoid any other incoming electron due to the repulsion, right? Let me repeat once again. As soon as there are a lot of electrons accumulated at the bottom surface of the semiconducting material, they will form a strong negative field, and this negative field will avoid any further incoming electron. Okay. Now you have a situation where the applied magnetic field is pushing the electron towards the bottom surface, and the Hall field generated at the bottom surface now pushing the electron towards the top, isn't it? This is a situation. Try to understand this. Now, let me repeat once again. The applied magnetic field is pushing the electron towards the bottom surface, and already overcrowded negative charges in the bottom surface now pushing the electron, any incoming electron, towards the top. And after a while, a equilibrium will be established where the force applied by the magnetic field, or downward force applied by the magnetic field, is balanced by the upward force by the Hall field. Okay, by the accumulated negative charges in the bottom surface. Okay, this you have to understand. Then using that concept, we can obtain the expression for Hall field. Okay, what is our aim? Our ultimate aim is to find out the expression for Hall field, right? To achieve that, we have to consider these situations. Okay, now let me summarize what is the force which is pushing the electron downwards. I hope you all know this force. This is known as Lorentz force. If you don't remember, from today onwards, try to remember. This is your friend. This is a Lorentz force. This is the force experienced by the electron due to the applied field B. If I apply a magnetic field B on the electron, and E is the charge of the electron, and if the electron has a velocity v, then this BeV will give us the expression for force. This is the force experienced by the electron. Okay, force experienced by the electron due to the magnetic field B. Okay, this is a formula, you have to remember it. Okay, I hope you have learned somewhere, right? If I mean, what is the meaning of V here? V is nothing but velocity, right? If the electron is at rest, magnetic field will not put any force on it. If V is equal to 0, there will be no force experienced by the electron. Okay, as soon as the electron starts to move, it will start to experience the force. That is because moving electron means current, right? Current carrying conductors will be attracted by the magnetic field. I hope you all know the thing, right? Therefore, to calculate the downward force, we require magnetic field. If there is no magnetic field, there is no force. We require charges. If there is no charges, there will be no current, right? And also charges should be under motion. That understanding will actually explain this formula BeV. And here negative sign implies that the charge carriers are the electrons. Okay, electrons will have negative charge. Therefore, BeV will give us the downward force. Now, what about the upward force? Upward force is due to the Hall field. I hope you know this formula. From the Coulomb's law itself, you know, right? The force is given by F is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q1, Q2 divided by R square, right? Q1, Q2 are the charges, right? If you remove one charge, the force formula will become field formula, right? Field is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by R square. Force is Q1, Q2 divided by R square. Field is Q divided by R square, right? If I multiply a charge to the field, that will give us the force. The same thing is actually used here. To get the upward force due to the Hall field EH, I have multiplied this field with the charge of the electron, and this will give us the upward force. And again, negative sign implements the force is towards the, a force is experienced by the electron, right? Now let us move forward. In equilibrium, the downward force due to the magnetic field is equal to upward force due to the Hall field. You can write this equation, right? You know already. The next step is very interesting step. You will cancel, right? That is very easy step. You will cancel E negative charge, and you will be left with EH is equal to BV. I hope you can make it out. Okay, EH is equal to BV. Now, the problem is I know what is magnetic field, but I don't know the velocity. I don't know. I have not gone inside the semiconducting material. I have not run with alongside with electron. I cannot fix a speedometer to the electron. Therefore, I don't know what is the velocity of the electron. Therefore, this EH expression will not earn you entire marks. right? Our aim itself is to obtain expression for EH. Now you can ask me, I have got EH. What is the problem? Derivation must have been over, right? But I don't know velocity. I cannot express anything in terms of unknown parameters, right? Now I have to replace this velocity. That is my next aim. Okay. To do that, I move again forward. I hope you can make out the relation between Hall field and Hall voltage. Hall field is equal to Hall voltage divided by D, where D is the thickness of the material. I hope you got it. Thickness is nothing but this distance. This is the thickness, right? D. Therefore, EH is equal to VH divided by D, or Hall volt potential can be represented as EH into D. Okay. Therefore, if I multiply D to this EH, I will get PVD, isn't it? To this equation, to equation 3, if I multiply D both sides, I will get VH, that is Hall potential. Okay, I will call this as equation 4. Now, this new friend of yours, current density, that is current per unit volume. I hope you remember this thing. Current per unit area, sorry, current per unit area is given by this formula. J is equal to, our current density J is equal to current flowing inside the material. I hope you know that current is measurable. Okay, current is actually given by this battery, and I know EI. Okay, current is known parameter. Okay, now current density is actually given by current divided by area, where instead of area, I have multiplied thickness of the material with the width of the material. Okay, thickness into width will give us the area. Don't multiply length. Actually, thickness into width actually gives the current density. J is equal to I mean, it is a, I mean, current is flowing along the length, right? Current density must be actually calculated perpendicular to the length. Okay, I mean, current per unit area across the length. Therefore, across the length, I have width and thickness. Therefore, current density J is equal to I divided by WD. Remember this formula 5. This is very important. Okay. Why I am doing all these things? Why I am actually introducing current density and all? Okay. That is because in the previous class, during conductivity derivation of semiconductors, I have obtained current density as NeV, where N is the concentration of electrons in the conduction band, E is the charge of the electron, and V is the drift velocity, right? I mean, just now I have said I don't know V. Therefore, I have to replace V with known parameters. That is my aim, right? Therefore, I have introduced current density. And let me tell you, please develop the habit of reading each and every day. Okay. If you don't remember these things, it will get very difficult. Therefore, try to learn at least 15 minutes per day each subject. Okay. That will remind you what are the things actually taught in the class, and that will help you to understand the things. Ultimately, in the campus interview, they will ask the questions on understanding part only. Okay. Don't leave it for the examination. Okay. Now, why I am doing this circus is I have to replace this velocity in the equation 3. I have to obtain expression for Hall field in terms of known parameters, and I don't know velocity. Therefore, I am replacing this velocity with some known parameters. You will get within few minutes now. Current density J is given by NE into V, and uh, 1 second. Okay, 1 ನಿಮಿಷ. ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಗೋ. Now, okay, current is given, current density is given as Ne into V, and Ne is now termed as rho. Rho is not resistivity, it is the Ne new rho, and this is nothing but charge density. Okay, I have introduced rho as charge density. Don't mix up it with resistivity. I just represented Ne as rho. Okay, a new term instead of using Ne. You can use Ne itself. Okay, but for simplicity's sake, I have actually, I mean, N is electron density, right? N into E will give charge density. Okay, I have called it as rho. for the naming sake. That's it. Now, J will be equal to rho divided by rho into V, charge density into velocity. And I also know J is equal to I divided by WD. By combining these two equations, equation 5 and equation 6, I can write rho V is equal to I divided by WD, or V is equal to the drift velocity of electron is equal to I divided by rho into WD. You can now see that velocity, which is unknown parameter before, is now converted into known parameters. I is known parameter, current is known. Okay, I am supplying current, therefore current is known. Charge density, this is constant for a given semiconducting material. Okay, in charge density, what we have N and E. N means concentration of electrons, which is constant for a given semiconducting material, and E is charge of electron, that is also constant. Therefore, rho is a constant parameter for a given semiconductor, and W is the width of the semiconducting material. You can measure it using screw gauge or vernier calipers, and D is the thickness of the semiconducting material. You can again measure it with vernier calipers or screw gauge. Therefore, velocity is now converted into known parameters. Substitute this equation in expression for VH. Okay, I have obtained Hall potential in terms of known parameters. You can see here equation 4 contains VH expression, right? VH is equal to BV into D. In the place of V, substitute I divided by rho WD, and you will get this equation. Okay, I have already shared the notes. Please try on your own. Once the test finishes, you just practice this. Okay, you simply get this equation. This will finish the derivation. If they ask you to obtain the Hall potential, then you have to stop here. Hall potential is Bi divided by rho W. Okay, Bi divided by rho W. And sometimes they will ask you to write obtain expression for Hall field. Then replace Hall potential with Hall field. How can you do that? Divide this VH by D and you will get EH. That is Hall field. Okay. And then I hope I am making sense. If you substitute V in the equation 3, you will get expression for EH. If you substitute V in equation 4, you will get expression for VH. EH is expression for Hall field. VH is expression for Hall voltage. Okay. Now this will finish the derivation. It will give you 8 marks. And sometimes they will also ask you to express the Hall field in terms of Hall coefficient, which is a new thing. Let me tell you what is the meaning of Hall coefficient. Hall coefficient is nothing but reciprocal of charge density. Okay, charge density Ne, reciprocal of charge density Ne is known as Hall potential. Okay, you can simply observe here in a given semiconductor, Hall field actually depends on the current density. Of course, right? If there is no current, there will be no Hall field. And also it depends on magnetic field. If you don't apply magnetic field, again there will be no Hall field. Therefore, EH is directly proportional to current density and magnetic field. Right? This is very logical. The next point is the constant of proportionality here is known as Hall coefficient. Okay, EH is directly proportional to J and B. If any one of them are J or B is equal to 0, you will get EH is equal to 0. There will be no Hall field. And constant of proportionality here is known as Hall coefficient. This is a extended answer I am giving. If they ask you to write the Hall coefficient expression, then you have to do this. Therefore, from this equation, you will get RH as EH divided by J into B, isn't it? You just simply cross multiply. RH is equal to EH by JB, and already you have obtained for expression for EH, right? You have expression for EH. Substitute EH here, that is BV, right? EH is nothing but BV, and now it is getting too much, right? We are doing too much. Now here again, substitute. I mean, you can cancel B, right? If you cancel B, you will get V divided by J for RH. And you know what is V? V in terms of J can be written as J divided by NE. I mean, you have to do on your own. I cannot explain each and every step. It is a mathematical juggling. Okay, it is a circus with numbers. Okay, and therefore at the end you can cancel this velocity also, and exactly you get the expression for Hall coefficient. It is simply 1 over NE. What is NE? It is rho. Okay. Therefore, if they ask you to write the meaning of Hall coefficient, you just write it is the reciprocal of charge density. Okay, charge density rho. Now this will finish the derivation if they ask you to obtain the expression for Hall coefficient. Okay, if they ask you to obtain the expression for Hall voltage, stop it here. If they ask you to obtain the expression for Hall coefficient, stop it here. Okay, I have also defined few other things. This RH is negative for electrons, R for N-type semiconductor, and this RH is positive for P-type semiconductors. Okay, this is actually Hall resistance. I mean, RH Hall coefficient is also known as Hall resistance. It is the opposition towards the formation of Hall field. Okay, and that's it. I think I must stop here. I have also, I mean, I have again represented this VH equation, and you can actually substitute 1 over rho with RH. You know 1 over rho is equal to RH, right? In this VH expression, sometimes they ask you to obtain the expression for VH in terms of RH. Or the question will be obtain expression for Hall potential in terms of Hall coefficient. Then you have to stop here. Okay, this is very unlucky kind of question. You have to do additional steps also, but very logical. If you practice 4 or 5 times, you will achieve here. Okay, in the place of 1 over rho, just write RH. Okay, that's it. That will finish up the semiconducting material part. In the regular class, I will do the calculation. If you don't understand, don't panic. I will do extra classes for the same thing also in the offline mode. Thank you very much for participating. If you have any doubts, please ask me. I will stop this class. Once again, thank you. Bye, friends.